got my very first scar cutting apart a land speeder Star Wars toy. I wanted to modify the land speeder, and I learned exactly what an X-Acto knife will do to you should you use it wrong.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
yeah. Towards your buddy, not your body, and
Never cut the bagel towards your throat. Exactly.
Now this car behind me, it's not mine. In
No.
fact, it's not even a car per se. And of course, it does include our guest who appears as soon as we snap our fingers. 1, 2, 3. All right. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Ian Roussel is joining us right here on the Talking About Cars podcast with me, Randy Cardoon, and that, of course, being Hot Rod Bob Beck. And it is great to have you on the show, Ian. You know, like I said, we get to talk to one of the most unique car fabricators out there. It is a show that's lasted as long as our show has, if you go back to 2014. So that's very cool. And it always amazing to me that you're like the MacGyver of car fabricators. I don't know if anybody's ever told you that before. Because if you think about it, you take random parts, you take random cars, you throw in some tube socks and a welder, and the next thing you know, you have art of the automotive variety.
And the true story is, if you've seen some of the episodes, I've actually been guilty of using a sweatshirt and socks on some occasions.
Absolutely.
Whatever. Last night I was watching the episode where you started working on the International Cabover, and I'm just amazed at what you've done with that so far, and the fact that it actually exists.
The YouTube content you're talking about.
Yeah, I was watching the YouTube show.
Yeah, we're lagging a little bit on those episodes because I just acquired an engine. You know, we want to get the driveline established before we go further. So did a little dent repair, some headlight upgrades, and right now the cab is just sitting waiting for us to pick up this engine later this afternoon.
What kind of engine?
427 for Chevy. I don't even remember, but I think he said it's bumped up to a 427.
Big block. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's a big block. Yeah, the chassis we got was designed for a 454 originally, so this should just drop right in. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That thing is a Frankenstein, I guess.
What a weirdo, right?
Yeah, but it's neat. It's so weird. It's neat. I mean, that's the thing about it.
Yeah, the lady at the wrecking yard, there was a story about that you saw in some of Jamie's videos. What a shame. So many cars went to the crusher. And she was like, she grew up as in this wrecking yard as a little girl. And she's like, this truck always had so much character, blah, blah, blah. Save it. I was like, all right, cool.
So let's talk a little bit about how this all began. I mean, is growing up, were you also like tearing apart model cars and gluing them back together different ways? How did you get into this?
Exactly what you described. Yeah, I got my very first scar cutting apart a land speeder Star Wars toy. I wanted to modify the land speeder, and I learned exactly what an X-Acto knife will do to you should you use it wrong.
Oh man.
Yeah. Towards your buddy, not your body, and
Never cut the bagel towards your throat. Exactly.
You grew up in the San Fernando Valley in the Sun Valley area, did you?
No, I grew up in New York.
Oh, New York. Oh.
I just landed. I took a leap of faith. I just basically quit my job, sold the farm, and moved out west.
Oh, wow. Okay, I read something that you were in Sun Valley. Okay.
Yeah, don't believe anything you read on the internet. I have 2 wives on the internet. I'm a multimillionaire. I got all kinds of stuff. I don't know what this is about when you Google search my name, but yeah, no, I grew up in New York and I moved to the San Fernando Valley in '98.
Yeah,
Okay.
it says you went to West Valley High School.
Okay.
Is that true?
No.
Okay.
Ossining High School graduate, Ossining, New York. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what made you come out here?
Cars, surfing, skateboards. All the magazines came from SoCal. That's why I came here.
Good. You went to the right place because you're limited in New York because of just the weather itself.
Yeah, and the rust in the cars. I had no concept of how good you guys had it in Southern California. Yeah, you normalize it, and by the time I got out here, I drove across country twice in my early 20s, and strangely enough, passed this ranch in Mojave a couple times. always looking at it, and I end up living here. It's super, super weird scenario.
Well, that's cool. Now, what was the first car you started modifying?
Volkswagen Bug 72. It was grandma's car, and it was all rusty. And I was 14. My dad was like, "Hey, your 16th birthday is coming up. If you want to drive, you can make this thing work."
I had a
Okay.
funny feeling when he said that, though. He probably meant put some oil in it and let it run versus what you probably did to it.
Oh, I had that engine out in no time for sure. Because like he got me like I was at a job, but like he did the shopping, so we got a Pontiac Sunbird, and I'm like, oh no way,
Okay.
this is not me. And the one that got away, an ex-girlfriend's dad gave me a 77 Cutlass, super
Oh,
nice car,
okay.
and I was like, no, I want a Volkswagen, and yeah, it escalated from there.
What did you do to the beat up?
Well, it was just mainly rust repair. I worked in a construction company where they had a sheet metal break, and I made rocker panels myself out of galvanized tin, all pop riveted. I pop riveted and bondoed everything, and it lasted about a year until it shut itself apart.
That's
Yeah,
very.
I didn't know how to weld until I was about 22. I went and got certified as a welder.
Oh, okay.
How long did it take for you to get comfortable just ad-libbing a build like you do today?
If you watch the first DVD, we filmed it in '03, and I was green. You could see it. It's like a deer in the headlights. So from '03 to 2023, yeah, I'm kind of getting the hang of it.
Hey, you've made some wild machines, and you and I got to talk about them at a car show a month or so back. But what is your favorite build so far?
Hands down, Johnny Jalape's Johnny 5, that mutant VW bus hot rod thing for sure.
Yeah, we talked about that. That was like driving a cab over, but the engine was in front of you.
So weird. So weird it was right.
Now, what ended up happening to that vehicle?
It lives up in Canada. The fella Mark, who was the client, he ended up moving, and he's busy. He bought a property, so they're all three of the vehicles I worked on with him are just in his garage in storage.
Yeah, limited driving time up there too.
That's one thing he said. He moved even further north in Canada, and I guess they probably have about 2 months of summer, I think.
Uh, yeah, the further north you move, take it from me, I'm in Washington State. The further north you move, the less sun you have.
Yeah, that was the thing in New York also. The gray February through May, couldn't take it.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, you're in Sunshine Capital right now.
Oh
You
yeah,
get a
Mojave, California. It's on. It's a beautiful
yeah,
day out here today.
you got another foot of sunshine today, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I know you said that just for me.
Yes, I did.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Um, Ian, talk a little bit about some of the cars that you've built, and especially like the ones for Victor. And it's interesting because your show, these are like your cast of characters that come in occasionally. They either stimulate your creativity, or they always give you something that makes you go, and then you just whip up something. Talk a little
Yeah.
bit about how he got involved with the show.
Well, Victor's been my client since I first moved here. I opened a shop, as I mentioned, a leap of faith. I saved some money and I rented a workshop in Sun Valley. And Victor happened to be in Sylmar, neighboring town. And, oh, who's the car guy, right? So he comes in and we get to talking, and he's been my best client and damn good friend also. Real strong supporter of my work.
The story of the Packard that you built, that was the first one I saw, and that the whole story of the build and then the ending was just amazing to me.
Yeah, we did two Packards, Victor and I. Are you talking on the maroon one or the green one?
Uh-huh.
I think you're probably talking about
I think
the one that looks like a Mercury now. Or
So
a,
there's the Merc Eater, and then there's the Merc Eater.
well, I remember you came to the Road Kings car show with
Uh-huh.
one of them.
Yeah.
Victor's Merc was parked alongside it. You were close to the front row.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't get to meet you then, but that's the car that I remember most.
Maroon
And
one, sure. Yeah.
it ended up being yours, if I remember correctly.
Well, Victor's number one guy, Craig, he owns it now, so it's
Okay.
still in the family. But yeah, he takes it everywhere. So that was yeah, it's still trying to remember. We've done so many projects, but yeah, if you saw the story, we did pretty much everything to that car. Fused the Mercury nose onto the front of it, and all the other business.
And you're also capable of doing more subtle customizations, because it turned out a high school buddy of mine now owns that Buick Riviera that you put together.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay. So
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, he works with Victor also, right? Is that who we're discussing?
maybe. I know he was doing some other job beforehand. I didn't know he was working with Victor, but he bought it from somebody who might have been working for Victor. I don't
Oh,
know.
so the fella sold it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
The one with the tail light issue
right.
that finally got
Right.
resolved.
That was interesting. I mean, because you were so exact about what you wanted to do, yet you didn't like completely change over the car. You eventually put together a really best word to describe it as a subtle custom.
Yeah, and Victor's got good taste. He plays it up for the camera like he's a wild man, but like his roots are founded in the San Fernando Valley cruise scene. And I think that show, really, really represents the boulevard mentality, right? That car looks cool.
Now we talked when we were up in New Kern, we talked about your making the bubble canopies. You saw Gene Winfield do it, and you figured if he can do it, you can do it. And that was an extensive project because you had to build the bubble, the oven or whatever you call it, to make the bubble expand.
Yeah, true story. If you watch the show, yeah, we used whatever that kind of stone board that you'd put in the shower walls. We made it out of that and some galvanized tin and literally Costco barbecue grills. True story.
Yeah, that's the MacGyver part of you is definitely evident in most of your shows.
I was just thinking, what could insulate, what could hold the heat or reflect the heat. So yeah, the stone board, the masonry board, the tin, and then that big backboard that we inflated the bubble. Yeah, it was all just thinking.
Yeah, that's something you do every show. And that's the part that amazes me is you are true old school. The people that founded this hobby and industry did not have engineering degrees. They figured it out, and you do that each and every show.
Yeah, I love that aspect of it. I actually read a book about Ed Roth, and they gave a little hint as to, oh, well, he heated the acrylic in a pizza oven, so that's what got the wheels spinning. It's like he's making cars in a pizza oven. That's my kind of
guy. And of course, how many people could make a hot rod out of a boat?
Right.
And a nice use of the Chrysler taillights. I thought that was interesting.
That was all Victor's call. When the boat left the shop, I knew I was in for something. And yeah, he took it all the way on that.
Describe that a little bit for some of our viewers.
Well, it's a speedboat. It's not like a jet boat because it had an outboard engine on it, but it's very much of that style. It's called a Sidewinder. So it looks like the jet boats, really, sleek and simple, lightweight. And I put it on, I guess you'd call it like maybe a gasser sort of stance. The chassis is a rear wheel drive, rear engine with a V drive like you'd find in a boat. So it's kind of like the wheelie machines you'd see. And it actually does wheelies. In the show, the engine wasn't hitting on all cylinders. The guy did the heads weird, and now it's running strong, and it pulls the wheels.
That's incredible. All right, so you've got what's behind me, which of course is your cabana.
One of the more recent ones, yeah.
Yeah, explain now. It isn't like you just took a car and dropped the back of a trailer onto the back of a chassis. Talk a little bit about how what the story was up behind this.
Well, that was one of my big fake outs, especially on social media. I had everybody, you can't drive that thing. You'll never see where you're going. You can't see out the windows, blah, blah, blah. Everybody thought it was going to be a car. And it's actually just a trailer. It's the trailer frame. And we welded the Dodge front clip with steering onto the trailer frame. So it had 4 wheels and steered. And there's a barbecue grill under the hood. It's just
oh.
I love that. No, I think that's great.
I mean, you could put an engine in it if you just want to redo everything, but I wouldn't want to drive that. I'll just pull behind trailer.
Yeah. Besides, as you can see, there is no side view mirror. You're right. How could you see? No, that wouldn't
I ended up putting a couple mirrors on the side just for kicks, but Yeah, imagine pulling up to a busy intersection in that thing in modern American traffic. It'd be a panic.
Well,
Purely a display vehicle.
you've got to come down to the Murphy Museum. We've got a Studebaker. Someone did that too,
Oh,
but
okay.
it drives.
Well, a house car, that was the inspiration. You see it all the time in a lot of the history. They were putting them on Cadillacs, old ambulances, trucks, everything. Yeah.
It works. What's your current major project?
Well, the V word, Mr. Victor's car is over there in the shop and it's getting picked up today. I was just doing you see the relationship with Victor. I don't really get into the body, paint, interior, so I did all the steel fab on this little speedster car, and yeah, that, and then I have a 67 VW Type 3 that I'm getting weird on also, so they're going at the same time.
Now,
Now,
what
I was looking.
personal cars? What do you have in your garage?
I get rid of them all. I sell everything. I don't keep them. We have my wife Jamie's Doom buggy. That's kind of her daily smash around the desert, have fun car. I have an ATC. I'll probably never sell, but the cars, I'm always looking for the next.
Now, you did a video just the other day about the brakes on that dune buggy.
Yeah, yeah. Part of it. We're trying to get this YouTube thing like we want to keep it more like we're hanging out on the daily rather than like, oh, we're making the greatest car in the world and it's all built in 1 hour. We're trying to get away from that format with our YouTube, make it more personal. Jamie used the word community. It's more like a hangout session. So that's what we're up to. And yeah.
Do you have a list of cars you would like to work on, or is it just based on what you see on any particular day that motivates you?
A lot of it is what becomes available. I just finished this 38 Cadillac that I didn't see coming. I built that 4x4 Pinto and somebody wanted it. And we came to an agreement where I ended up with a 38 Cadillac and started working on that.
That's incredible, though. That's interesting how that all was. There a guy when you first started, somebody that kind of served as your that got you motivated, somebody that kind of emulated what you wanted to do, or how did that work out?
Yeah, who's your inspiration?
All the guys in the magazines, Barris, Roth, Starbird, Winfield, all the guys I read about. Nobody in New York where I grew up was into cars. My dad's not into cars. I had a neighbor. He had a welder. I had go-karts and mini bikes, and I could not kick the habit, and he helped me when they got broken. And yeah, that was about it.
So you came out here, no experience really, other than working on your Volkswagen. But you had the passion to do this.
Yeah, boy, did I make some mistakes. We could talk.
All right, tell us some of the mistakes. What the heck? What was the biggest mistake you think you made?
Well, my first chop top was a disaster. I decided I was going to chop my VW bus, and I chopped it 2 inches too much, and I didn't realize that until I tried to put it back together. And being a novice welder, I made a mess of that poor rig, but I got it done.
You got it done.
I've used the term a liberal application of body filler.
It weighs a little bit more than it used to, I take it.
Yeah, and I've been fortunate to have a lot of understanding clients. Again, being a guy living in his workshop for 10, 15 years, and the clients that really stuck around, especially Victor, understood like they're watching me progress through all of these demands. And I mean, from welding lawn furniture back from being bent to building, bubble top show cars, it's been an event.
So he's kind of become your mentor or your enabler.
100%. Yeah, the dude that wouldn't let me quit, because I've tried to throw in the bag a few times. I'm going to go back and work with my dad in construction. He's like, what? No, come to this job site and weld a gate. Seriously.
What keeps you motivated? I mean, obviously you go from car to car and do a lot of fun stuff, but as you mentioned, sometimes it kind of, you start looking elsewhere. What's kept you motivated about still doing this and doing the show?
I think I'm just a little bit on the spectrum. I just can't sit still. It's just I don't have to motivate myself. I just simply can't stop.
You moved to Mojave, and first off, I think a lot of people want to know, how'd you talk the wife into that?
Well, I didn't actually have to talk her into it. I got the place about 5 years ago, and we've only been married 3-ish, little give or take. But we met out in the desert at an event. It's kind of a vetting thing. We've been but met through mutual friends, and it's just one of those things. Like I do okay when it's 115 degrees, and even though she lived in Seattle at the time, she was feeling the same way. And I was like, well, instead of moving to Los Angeles, you could just move in with me and get married.
You
Choose.
romantic devil, you.
That's yeah. I really lay it on.
Yeah. Suave and debonair.
But
Yeah,
either
exactly.
way, I mean, we love it out here. It's a great place.
So how far are you from Winfield?
5 miles.
5 miles. Okay.
Stand up tall on the porch, you could almost see him. Yeah.
But it's become a custom central now between you and Gene, huh?
It's interesting because I finally had a couple coins to rub together again, and Victor's like, now that you're getting a paycheck, you should buy a house and get married. Like, okay, I'll start with the house. This happened to be on realtor.com of all things. It was available to anyone. And yeah.
Wow.
So talk a little bit about the relationship you have with Gene Winfield.
Like anybody else, I built a car and took it to his car show, and he was like, whoa, like, what's this? George Barris as well. They were together at this car show, and what the heck? Like, who's this guy? And I'm like, hey, and face recognition, whatever. And I did a lot to show my cars when I was first starting. Bob's Big Boy in Burbank, and anything local in the Valley. I was there with a car and business cards, trying to get some work.
Is that how you got the TV show, or how did that work out?
I was on another TV show, and the fellow I'm working with, Brooks, my producer, he was just a cameraman on this. You've heard of the Monster Garage, Monster House. So this was a spinoff of that called Monster Nation. And he was just a hired gun. He was a camera guy looking at me building stuff. And he's like, hey, I have another producer who wants to make a DVD. And that's what started the whole thing.
Wow.
We're working together for 20 years now. Yeah.
Right place, right time.
Exactly. Yeah. It's serendipity, synchronicity, whatever you want to call it.
Well, whatever it is, your charisma is definitely there, and the way you build a car, it's different from everybody else. You're not building cookie cutter stuff like most. I mean, you got guys that are building some very beautiful cars, but yours are not along the same pathway. You're an innovator.
I've never followed the norm. I mean, that can be said for all aspects of what I've been up to. And, you know, a lot of guys like a conservative looking car, and that's not me. So the TV show, fortunately, has given me that avenue to just get weird.
Now, I was looking at a car that you're building now, and Volkswagen power, but a street rod front end and very pointed and finned, and it's cool. What is the goal? What is that? I don't know. I don't know how far you've gotten along with that car, because I'm just seeing pictures.
That's the car that's going away today. That's Victor's car, and it was
okay.
Collaboration between him and I. So he's a guy who he's always on his phone. He runs 4 businesses, right? He's always in this vehicle moving around, and he daydreams about cars. So he's got a whole rack of pictures, fantasy concept roadsters, right? Futuristic, and with the 24-inch rims and super low nose and all that stuff. So he brings me a Nash Metropolitan, some Studebaker rear fins, the kind that screw on, the Hawk, I guess, Edsel front grille, and a Volkswagen chassis, and some big wheels and tires. And he's like, let's make one.
Build me a car. Okay. But you've got he's got the foresight, but you take his dreams and make them a reality.
Yeah, we have a real good relationship like that. It's just at this point, 20 whatever, almost 5 years into it, you read each other's minds. So it's kind of like that. Like, I know what he wants to see, and then he tells me something else, and then we do it again over.
Ian, talk a little bit about when you first started bringing your cars, or a car, to a place like a Bob's Big Boy or to whatever else is local near you, and you didn't know yet what the reaction would be. Talk about what the reaction was when people saw your cars, and how were you surprised by that? Were you gratified by that?
There was that thrill. I don't know, maybe it's the same thrill like a streaker would get when they run through a football stadium naked. I would pull into Bob's Big Boy. I built this ugly 56 Plymouth Belvedere. I chopped it super radical and put the roof on backwards. And it was just the lines were all wrong. It was a hideous car. So I pull into Bob's Big Boy and, ghetto lower, just heated springs, drop to the ground, super low. And I pull in, it's all loud and dragging on the ground. And everybody's like, ew, what was that? And one guy comes up and he's like, you must have a lot of confidence to drive that thing. And that like affected me because I'm like, actually, okay, I didn't think that, but if that's the way you're seeing it, heck yeah.
Grab it. Yeah. Whatever works,
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I just always like the oddball stuff.
If you could build a car right now of your choice and your vision, besides the International Cabover you're working on, what would it be?
Again, I really don't have a wish list. This truck was presented to me, so I'm all about it now. I've always wanted to do some kind of a motorhome thing. That's, I guess, where the Cabana car led into. Didn't make it, just resources, time frame. We have, especially with the TV show, time frame is everything. We got to knock it out. So, do you remember Art Himsel's motorhome, that giant Zeppelin thing?
Yep.
Oh wow! Or Randy Grubb's Deco liner, the big aluminum.
That I don't remember, but I know Art, so yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
that.
I saw that at Paso Robles, yeah, years ago, and I was just knocked out. Like, what a cool creation! I was inducted a few years back into the West Coast Customs Hall of Fame. Pretty
That's
crazy.
great.
Yeah, they called up, and I'm like, yeah, prank call, right? Yeah.
Well, what you're building, like I said, you're an innovator. You're not following the herd. You're doing something just like the first guys that started building customs. There was no template. You've made your own.
That's what's so amazing about being able to hang out with Gene Winfield in his senior years, because like the dude started it. Literally, him and his peers created it from it didn't exist before them.
No, so you're carrying the torch because you are the innovator.
I'm real proud that this is my career. It's like I'm not going to go work in fast food like I once dreamed I would. So I'll just keep building these cars.
Wait, you dreamed that you would be working in fast food? Any particular fast food restaurant?
Actually, in high school, I worked in a deli, an Italian deli in Millwood, New York, and I loved that job. Prepping sandwiches, doing the whole thing. I really did. I worked in the kitchen there for a while and catering. I really enjoyed that.
From custom sandwiches to custom cars. I like it.
Percent.
Yeah, at least get you on Motor Trend. I don't think the sandwich thing would probably do that. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
A custom car that looks like a sandwich. Wait a minute. I've got it.
I was actually doing something on Facebook for a little while called Full Custom Kitchen. Anything you could make in a coffee maker. When I was in my bachelorhood, I lived in my shop and I was doing that seriously. I just, for a kick, I was making everything I could in a Mr. Coffee just to prove it.
Give me like what? Chicken soup? What can you make out of a Mr. Coffee?
Hard-boiled eggs. You can make pasta. You can make all kinds of soups. You can make potatoes. You could boil potatoes and mash them. You can make vegetables. You can do all kinds of business.
Okay, Bob, I don't think we're going over to Ian's for dinner anytime soon.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
I think we'll bring pizza. I could charcoal grill a frozen pizza.
Okay.
On a Mr. Coffee? Oh,
no. I also had a charcoal grill as well when I was really getting into it, but
not a hibachi, a charcoal grill.
Full on Weber grill.
Wow.
Full service garage. Not only can you eat, but you can get a car at the same time.
Full service garage and chicken and dinner and kitchen and everything else. I like that.
You built a car for a friend of mine, Jack Wymer. Tell us that truck was neat. And when I saw him driving it, it was like, wow.
And also, I don't know what history goes with that Riviera you mentioned, but that was Jack's Riviera as well.
Oh, okay.
He started that project and decided to pass. Yeah. But the Econo line, he loved that Diora pickup, you know, made by the Alexander brothers. And
Mhm.
he's like, I don't want to make a copy. Anybody can make a replica. I want to do, you know, a version of that. And he had made this little scale model representing his lines on it, and found that Econoline with the Cadillac front drive in the back. And we just cut it up and made it happen.
That's good.
Talk about your time frame, like from the moment you get introduced to the car to the time you theoretically finish it. What are we talking about? Because obviously we see it, and unless it's a 2 or 3 parter, you know, it's done in an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. What is your time frame usually to put these cars together?
It's all over the map. The Victor supercar, not many people have seen that. That was a full season on one car. We experimented with that format. That took 9 months, front to back. The Cabana car was about 3 weeks. That was pretty straight up. So it runs in between. I can't guess the average, maybe 2 or 3 months.
And so the car that Victor's picking up now, how much time did you have in that one?
Well, we started that again. A lot of the way we film is we double or triple up projects. That way, if one is lagging, we still have stuff to film. So started with the Cadillac. While the Cadillac was going on, I got into Victor's car, bounced back and forth, finished the Caddy episode. Now I'm into the VW. Victor's car is going out. So yeah, it's kind of just a big mashup. It's pretty hectic, actually.
So you're building a car on spec, basically, like the Cadillac. No specific customer. If someone was watching the show, saw you build that, how would they buy that from you at the end?
I haven't really pursued the sale of them. It's always about like what am I going to do with not having this project around, because a lot of them don't truly get finished. That oddball trike thing with the over the head chassis. You know that one? My buddy Eric that worked on that with me, I basically gave it to him for the cost of the parts. The 4-wheel drive Pinto was gone in a trade for another project. A fella I met in Iowa, he got the yellow Volkswagen that was from last season. I was going to finish that this season. He's really into VWs. You know, it's like the people that deserve them, I think, get them in the end. I don't really just highest bidder type of thing.
So you're not advertising them; it's just kind of word of mouth, people finding it.
Yeah. Or again, the right guy calls. This fella Corey. He's like, hey, check out the stuff I build, and I'm really into Volkswagens. I love that car, and we got to talking, and yeah, he took it home.
So is it true that the logo we see behind you was designed by you?
No. Our friend Tony designed this UFO thing. Again, it back and forth. He showed me a couple fonts. I was like, you know, I want a flying saucer that glows in the dark, and yeah, we messed around with it.
Again,
We had
we
this skull T-shirt design. Look kind of ominous, you know. And I'm like, let's do something fun and oddball.
The car you made the big canopy for, it was a Thunderbird, if I remember correctly. Very spacey. I mean, you filled the fender wells, smoothed the body back. Is that one of Victor's cars?
Yeah, that was his design from the get-go. In about 2004, that car was in my shop, and I had done a completely different treatment to it. The entire rear of the body, it was like a transformer. The rear open, the front open, everything. It was like wide open, almost like a speedboat. And then he redesigned everything. That's when the fender wells got covered and the bubble top got made. Yeah.
So if people want to find your show, they find it on Motor Trend now.
Motor Trend Plus. It's on Amazon as a rental, Amazon Prime. It's around the world. So yeah, I don't even know all the networks.
Wow. Oh, good. You'll be able to go to Botswana and they will know who you are.
Seriously, South Africa. I get messages from all over the world. Australia is a huge fan base. It's on their 7 Mate channel. So yeah, it's all over the place. Pretty neat.
That's great. That's good to hear.
Yeah, that's good for you, and good congratulations on the show and keeping it going. And again, we get to watch some of these great custom tidbits that you put together here and there. It's so much fun, and it's amazing to watch how you'll split a fender in half, widen it up, put straps on it, then putty it in, or however you do it. Or you know, it's always a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and it is literally just winging it. I've had people critique my style and methods from the start, but like what you see is what you get. It's a guy rushing through the process to get his vision out there. So yeah, all the techie welding terms, etc., that people will bring up, it's like what you see is what you get. It's me, the garage, just trying to slam something for entertainment value.
And the dogs, we have to ask how the dogs are doing.
Well, we lost our dude, our number one, the cancer god. So we got Lil, number two. She's here resting. And Blue, our new puppy's learning the ropes.
There you go.
Look forward to making its debut on your show.
He already did. Yeah. It's kind of like dude, number one. He showed up on the very first episode. He came in. Like that wasn't planned. And the same thing, we're like, well, maybe Blue wants to be involved. And you'll see on these episodes, he kind of runs in, looks, and he's out. He's not really the conversation.
Very cool. All right, Ian, thanks for joining us on the show. It's been a lot of fun finding out a little bit more about your program. And it's just amazing to look at your work. Again, reminder, you can check him out on Motor Trend and all the places he mentioned earlier. And I hope you can join us again. That's Hot Rod Bob. That's Ian. I'm Randy. We'll see you next time on the Talking About Cars podcast.